Amazing, amazing. Thank you so much, Donnie. That was so cool to hear all the insight into what you have planned going forward. I know that this is a fireside that people have been looking forward to for quite some time. I personally have also been looking forward to it a lot. We've been following Goldman Sachs's movement into the tokenization space and other applications of blockchain for many years now. But we have an opportunity to hear from Mathew McDermott, Global Head of Digital Assets at Goldman Sachs, in conversation with Karl Rusche from right here, Head of Operations at Proof of Talk. Please help me welcome Mathew and Karl to the stage for a fireside inside Goldman's digital asset strategy.
Hello, hello. Welcome, everyone. Welcome, Mathew, with us. He's not the most often seen guy at any of the crypto conferences, so it's a pleasure to have you here with us today.
Thank you very much. I mean, what a setting. It's amazing.
For now, today, I think it's a topic that is not the traditional crypto conversations that we have, but I think it's something new and something very exciting coming up within the Goldman ecosystem and the whole traditional finance world. I think zooming out, giving the context here, Goldman Sachs announced the spin-off of the digital asset platform for next year. And I think for now, maybe you give us a background of the business for digital assets at Goldman so far.
Thank you. Well, thank you for having me. And I think I caught the first question with the noise. So what are we doing at Goldman in digital assets? So it's a journey we've been on now for 5 years. We've been pretty active and evolving the strategy, as you can imagine. But I'd say it kind of manifests itself in kind of 4 kind of key areas. One, very focused on the ability to trade the asset class. So we're very active, in different pockets of crypto trading where we have the permissibility and the regulatory approval to do so. So you could see that across ETFs or cash-settled instruments. Big focus of that part of the business is continuing to build out our geographic footprint, as well as our product suite pursuant to client demand. Second part of the business, which I think we'll talk a little bit about today, is around tokenization, more broadly in the digital asset platform. But we also have a big emphasis on the use of the distributed ledger technology to transform the whole collateral kind of mobility, so the financial plumbing of the markets. And this is something, in our mind that's kind of ripe, just given the efficiencies that really can be born out of that. Third area is more, I would say, around the kind of classic part of the business. So when you think about investing, we've invested in a number of companies that are strategically aligned to what we're looking to do, and be that to kind of accelerate or to complement the strategy. And then probably a big kind of theme that we're seeing this year is in the classic kind of banking space as well, on the M&A side. So, I mean, anyone who's been following the market will see there's kind of more and more companies now looking to go to market, be it through IPO or thinking about kind of mergers and the like. So we've seen a lot more activity in that space. And then the last one, which is quite topical, just given SocGen's announcement, is on digital money. So really constantly kind of focusing on how we can get access to digital money in, I guess, the most expeditious but kind of risk-appropriate way. And obviously there's a lot of movement in the US at the moment on the regulatory side, so big focus on stablecoins.
Perfect, all right. So for me, it was very surprising when I saw the news, industry-owned and Goldman Sachs. I think that's something we know from crypto a lot, but from TradFi not too much yet. Can you give us more insights on the entity itself and then also the strategic thinking behind this?
So, yeah, on the digital asset platform. So I think, touching on the digital asset kind of platform. So this is kind of a journey we embarked on in late 2020, 2021, where we were very interested to see the client demand to be kind of seeing how they can really start to operate in the tokenization space. I mean, this is like 4 years ago. And so as we kind of looked at the options across the market, we felt that, that journey was probably best suited with us looking to develop our own digital asset platform, to basically, have an appreciation of what was required, but also to kind of expedite our own expertise in that space. And as we, work closely with clients, deciding on the kind of architecture, the software we're looking to use, we built that out and launched it in 2022. I would say as a kind of key kind of focus of that kind of build out, we always recognize for the platform to be truly successful, it would need to be market neutral. So something that the market could use quite seamlessly rather than it sit on Goldman's balance sheet. But the ability to really, I guess, kind of, like I say, develop the expertise, accelerate the development, is probably suited us better to have that in-house. But now we're very focused on that neutralizing of the platform.
Excellent. You had some pilots already on the platform. What's the successes there, and in which direction do you think it's promising so far, and what do you expect in this direction?
Yeah, so I mean, the focus, thus far has been largely on securities, and so it's now an award-winning platform, which we're always pleased to say. But I mean, we've been focused on, I would say, kind of a small number of debt issuances, and there we've looked at both tokenized native issuances as well as tokenizing existing instruments onto the platform. I think as we've, kind of looked and thought about what's the best way to really kind of commercialize this space, for us, the last 12 plus months has been very much focused on scaling and how we can kind of get broader scale across the market, deeper liquidity pools, being a real kind of focus, in that vein. So as we think about, the projects we're looking to launch over the next kind of 6+ months, we've got a big initiative in the US where we're working with many global asset managers on tokenizing a suite of funds. So that, the first phase of that should happen towards the end of this month, which we're very excited about. And that kind of plays into this whole focus in and around kind of collateral mobility. We're also looking at alternatives as well. So we've got an initiative there focused on a real world asset, and again, scale really at the heart of the focus there. And there's probably a number of other things, that are in the pipe as well, which we're excited about. But I think the fundamental point is, as we look to kind of spin the platform out, it's about getting kind of broader adoption and scale in everything that we're looking to do.
And when we talk about today, what does the platform offer at the moment? What can I do already?
So at the moment we've been, obviously focused on digitizing the whole life cycle of different asset classes, and I think, well, specifically, one or two asset classes. As we kind of think towards the kind of the spin out of the platform, I think really for us it's kind of broadening the kind of asset classes that the platform can kind of accommodate, which has obviously influenced, the projects that we've looked to focus on for our clients and who we're working with, in the context of strategic partners. And really building up the kind of resiliency with a real focus, kind of on security, privacy, and the like. But as we think about the platform, one of the things for US banks has always been this ability to settle only on private blockchain. So the way that the architecture of the platform's been built, we're excited to see, as the US regulations hopefully evolve in a way that we anticipate, the ability to have more flexibility on the underlying ledgers that we use.
And now, next year, the spin-out is happening. Until then, what are the challenges, key insights that you plan to provide? But then also, what's the big problems that you foresee at the moment to really go to market in this way?
Sorry, that last little bit of the last question?
Like the biggest challenges for you until the spin-out, and the key features that you plan to have until then in the direction of the challenges.
Challenges for the platform, for the business, yeah. I think, I wouldn't say challenges. The excitement with kind of divesting the platform, I think, offers us, that ability to, kind of, like I say, properly scale it and work with strategic partners in the market. Excitement around the business more broadly. I think, some of the things we've not touched on, I think, on the crypto side, as we see the regulations hopefully evolve, like I say, as we anticipate, that ability to build out our kind of crypto offering more so than we do today. We feel like we're very active. We've got a big geographic presence, as I mentioned, but continuing to focus on that and build that out, is very exciting for us. I think we talked a little bit about the M&A, and our classic bankers are naturally kind of leading on that, but we're working very closely with them. I think we continue to see a lot of opportunity there, kind of in terms of potential consolidation over the market, across the market, which I think many of you will have started to see already anyway, and much more kind of activity there, plus some of the activity we see with our portfolio companies.
I've seen you in the MENA region during Token 2049. In the US, you guys obviously have with Trump a new president and a lot of push, or maybe not. But in this direction, where do you see the biggest opportunity for you with the platform in the market? And is Europe a market at the moment, or was it something where it's struggling at the moment?
I think, and sorry, I'm really struggling to hear because of the noise, the question, but I think, in terms of the excitement in and around the US, I think we've seen a huge amount of kind of momentum because of what we're kind of starting to see from a regulatory perspective. And the way I think about it is, there's a lot of things that institutions want to do, but having the clarity has certainly kind of accelerated broader adoption. And that's both kind of on the buy side, the sell side. You're seeing a lot of kind of the US banks now become more actively involved. So that kind of accelerates the adoption. As you accelerate adoption, it means that you get a broader kind of participation, which increases liquidity and scale. And so that manifests itself across, kind of all parts of the digital asset business, which is from our perspective, pretty exciting. And then we are hosting our own conference, and probably like you're feeling, this week, there is a lot of excitement. And so we're going to our 5th one with a lot of tailwinds, and I think each part of the business will be very actively discussed in a positive way. So, we're pretty excited for that. But then, what do I think in terms of, the forward for the year? I do think consolidation is going to be a kind of one that we'll see more and more of as people look to pool resources and people look to expand, broaden their businesses in anticipation of going public.
Sounds good. For the rest of the year, is there in the broad digital asset space an outlook for us? What do you see? Where's the market heading? But also for the platform itself, what's the impact there on the current situation of?
Yeah, I just think that we'll continue to see broader kind of adoption across the market. I hope, as mentioned, that we see the positive development with the regulations. I think the US is really, kind of starting to kind of accelerate, and other regions now probably kind of are taking note of that and reacting. I mean, in Europe, they've been pretty forward-leaning in this space, which has been very positive. But when we start to see how the US is aggressively moving forward or looking to, I think it'd be good to see kind of a bit more kind of speed across the regulatory side, this side. And then I was in the Middle East recently, and it was fascinating to see the energy and focus in that region, and Asia, where I have a team. There's a lot of excitement there.
We had a quick chat before the call. In general, meme coins, do they help the industry or not too much? What's the perspective for meme coins? Do they help the industry or not too much?
I'll leave others to decide on that one, but yeah.
Nothing to this? No? All right. For the broad picture next year, until the spin-off is taking place, what are the key partners that you guys need to bring on board? Who are the key players in the space that are contributing there? Anything in this direction for us?
Yeah, I mean, in the context of the spin-off, when we had made the announcement last November, we talked about Tradeweb being a strategic partner on the platform. One of the things that, as a team, we've been very focused on is aligning with the right strategic players. And again, it comes back to that point of trying to get the scale and really build out, kind of, I guess, the marketplace. So as we've kind of started to evolve that, there are additional strategic players we're working very closely with. And they kind of are foundational, ultimately to the kind of, I would say, successful spin out of the platform.
Circling back to the beginning, when we said industry-owned, what does it really mean if a platform like this is industry-owned?
Yeah, I think there are a number of examples of kind of market-neutral type platforms. I mean, Tradeweb's, actually itself is a good example, Symphony and others. And I think, to me, actually kind of having the market have a real kind of interest in the platform, skin in the game, if you will, I think is very important. But it also kind of accelerates, and this is the key thing, kind of that interoperability across the market. So if really having that broad market adoption, is and participation is key.
Is there any feature that Goldman Sachs still has control on the platform and it's been out over the years, so decentralization happens in a slower process? Or do we expect next year directly that it's completely independent, market neutral?
Yeah, I mean, when you're looking to develop a market neutral platform, the key thing is making it just truly that. So I think for us, once we actually do divest, it will be just that. We will be an investor like anyone else.
Then looking into the future, 5 years ahead, where do you see Goldman Sachs within the broad ecosystem of digital assets?
Look, I think, we're very excited about, the possibility in this space and the opportunities that it brings. So I think in 5 years' time, we'll see a very different marketplace. I think as we look at kind of the growth of tokenization, the transformation of the kind of collateral marketplace, leveraging distributed ledger technology more, I think we'll just see a very different market. And so as we evolve the digital asset business at Goldman, I expect it will be kind of with that in mind. As the market evolves, you'll kind of evolve the team appropriately. I also think that crypto as a trading asset class will naturally mature, will have more products and be just traded like any other asset class.
Anything where Goldman Sachs will not touch the crypto space? Anything besides the, obviously, platform, Bitcoin, Ethereum involvements, but where we see something new coming up in the next 6 months? Any news?
No, I think for us, I mean, a lot of it is, regulatory based in terms of what one is able to do and not to do. And so at the moment, we can't trade or touch the underlier. Getting the permissibility to do that, which is something that's obviously kind of in flight, hopefully, will ultimately determine what we can do.
And where do you see the US compared to the MENA region in this speed setting to move ahead in this direction? Is it the US is back to the speed that we knew from the past?
I think the US is, I mean, a lot of it, as you know, and people here know, I mean, there's been a big change over the last 6+ months. And so I think there's now a lot more focus, kind of domestically. And that's galvanized, kind of the cross-section of the market, FMIs, buy side, sell side, which accelerates, creates enthusiasm, but also really touches the top levels of the institutions. So then you start to see kind of top-down, focus on this space.
Perfect. All right. I think we covered the digital asset space quite well. The platform launch, we see it next year coming. You guys have the conference in November, is correct?
That's right. It is it's actually in June, 25th of June.
In June?
Yeah, very close.
My news is wrong then. So in June, if anyone is interested to dive deeper into this, Mathew will be there, and then see you all at the conference again.
Thank you. Thank you very much. And sorry, I did struggle to hear quite a bit, actually.